Now this capacity of self-awareness and the capacity of withdrawing from itself is made use of by the Agni element in us, by our inner soul. As I said last time, it is the Agni that is evolving gradually and leading the whole movement from inconscient upwards. If you recall, we had said that when there was complete darkness, then Agni was injected into the darkness. And from that time onwards, Agni has been growing upwards and leading out. And first matter was brought out, then life was brought out, and then mind was brought out. So when mind is brought out, Agni becomes much more capable, as it were, of handling the material, because now in mind there is a kind of a helper greater than the helper that was the body and the helper that was the life. Now it is at this level that I had explained how error becomes possible. I had said that whenever mind moves upwards, it moves upwards in search of knowledge. Apart from its self-consciousness, apart from its power of self-withdrawal, it has this power of seeking for knowledge. So when it seeks for knowledge, it has a special kind of movement which is called groping. The mind gropes towards knowledge. It does not know its goal. It does not know the method of reaching the goal. But somehow there is a feeling that there is something to be pursued. And it pursues it by the method of groping. And in this method of groping, error becomes inevitable. Mistakes are committed. If the mind knew exactly what it was looking for, if the mind knew the right method of looking for what it was looking, then there will be no mistake. But because it does not know what it is looking for, does not know the method, therefore it commits mistakes. Now, in committing mistakes, there is a further movement by which it becomes complicated. And that is insistence on the error. I commit an error, which is quite normal. But then there is a tendency in the mind to justify the error, to stick to the error, to insist on it, and to claim that it is the right thing. It is this insistence which causes falsehood. So the distinction between error and falsehood is that whereas error is a pathfinder, truth finder, the falsehood is insistence on the error itself and limitation to error and insistence that you should remain confined to the error and claiming that it is the truth. This is the falsehood. If we are only open to the error, there is no problem. But when the tendency arises to insist upon the error, to justify it, to insist upon it, then the falsehood arises. And all that we call sin, evil, devious method of working, the crooked methods of working in the world, which is called in the Veda Duritani. Duritani means crooked methods, as opposed to straight methods. Straight methods are Rijutani, Rijuta, that which is straight. Duritani is crooked. So all crookedness arises out of this insistence on error. The question is whether we can come out of this tangle of insistence on error, resulting into falsehood, sin, evil, etc. And if so, how? The human life, the entire human life is located at this point. Animal life is located at a lower level, at the level of impulses, instincts. It has only concern with the body and desires. It has no mind or very rudimentary mind. Therefore, animal life has not this problem which human beings have got. Animals don't insist upon errors. Therefore, you cannot say that a tiger commits an error when it attacks upon the victim. It does out of its own nature. The tiger does not insist upon its error if ever it committed an error. Therefore, the element of falsehood, sin, evil, etc. is not present at the lower levels of consciousness. Falsehood and evil and sin is precisely at the level of the human being because of the powers of the mind. So human life is located exactly at this point. So you might say that human being is a knot. And this knot consists of several tendencies. One is a tendency to grope for knowledge. Another is to become self-conscious. Third is to be able to withdraw from the movement. The fourth is to insist upon the confinement to error. And as a result of that, the mind goes on moving in a circle of these 3 or 4 or 5 tendencies. On error. So all human life, all human beings, the psychology of man basically is the tangle, is the knot of these tendencies. Now this stage is therefore called the stage of ignorance in the Vedantic terminology. The level of the mind where there is a groping consciousness, committing error, insisting upon error, and attraction to remain within the error. Juhuranam ena. Enaha is the sin, and Juhuranam is the attraction. There is an attraction to remain confined within that area. Now basically, why is there this tendency to remain confined to this? This is because what we had seen earlier, last time, the tendency of exclusive concentration of consciousness. Last time we had spoken of exclusive concentration of consciousness. We had said there are various kinds of concentration. There is integral concentration of consciousness, multiple concentration of consciousness, and exclusive concentration of consciousness.